honchos at my company, so I'd heard all about it. At least no one was killed, and at least it wasn't one of ours. I picked up my big black coffee mug, the Hammond Sky Cruiser, the future of flight, and took a sip. The coffee was cold and bitter. "You hear me, Landry? This is serious." I swiveled slowly around in my chair. Zoe Robichaud was my boss's admin. She had dyed copper hair and a ghostly pallor. She was in her mid-20s and lived in El Segundo, not too far from me, but she did a lot of club hopping in L.A. at night. If the dress code at Hammond allowed, I suspected she'd have worn studded black leather every day, black fingernail polish, probably gotten everything pierced, even parts of the body you don't want to think about getting pierced. Then again, maybe she already did. I didn't want to know. "Does this mean you didn't get me a bagel?" I said. "I was on my way down there when Mike called, from Mumbai." "What's he doing in India? He told me he'd be back in the office today for a couple of hours before he leaves for the offsite." "Yeah, well, Eurospatial's losing orders all over the place since their plane crashed." "So Mike's lined up meetings at Air India instead of coming back here?" I said. "Nice of him to tell me." Mike Zorn was an executive vice president and the program manager in charge of building our brand new wide-bodied passenger jet, the H-880, which we called the Sky Cruiser. 4 VPs and hundreds of people reported to him. Engineers and designers and stress analysts and marketing and finance people. But Mike was always selling the hell out of the 880, which meant he was out of the office far more than he was in. So he'd hired a chief assistant, me, to make sure everything ran smoothly. Crack the whip if necessary. His jack-of-all-trades and UN translator, since I have enough of an engineering background to talk to the engineers in their own geeky language, talk finance with the money people, talk to the shop floor guys in the assembly plant who distrust the lardasses who sit in the office and keep revising and revising the damn drawings. Zoe looked uneasy. "Sorry, he wanted me to tell you, but I kind of forgot. Anyway, the point is he wants you to get over to Fab." "When? Like an hour ago?" The fabrication plant was the enormous factory where we were building part of the Sky Cruiser. "Why?" I said. "What's going on?" "I didn't quite get it, but the head QA guy found something wrong with the vertical tail, and he just, shut down the whole production line, pulled the switch." I groaned. That's got to be Marty Kluza. Marty, the one-man party. The lead quality assurance inspector at the assembly plant was a famous pain in the ass, but he'd been at Hammond for 15 years and he was awfully good at his job, and if he wouldn't let a part leave the factory, there was usually a good reason for it. "I don't know. Anyway, everyone at headquarters is totally freaking and Mike wants you to deal with it, now." Shit. "You still want that bagel?" Zoe said. Chapter 2. I raced over in my Jeep. The fabrication plant was only a 5-minute walk from the office building, but it was so immense, a quarter of a mile long, you could spend 20 minutes walking around to the right entrance. Whenever I walked across the factory floor, I came here maybe every couple of weeks, I was awestruck by the sheer scale. It was an enormous hangar big enough to contain 10 football fields. The vaulted ceiling was 100 feet high. There were miles of catwalks and crane rails. The whole place was like the set of some futuristic sci-fi movie where robots run the world. There were more machines than people. The robotic automated guided vehicle forklift zoomed around silently, carrying huge pallets of equipment and parts in its jaws. The autoclave, basically a pressure cooker, was 30 feet in diameter and 100 feet long, as big as some traffic tunnels. The automated tape layers were as tall as 2 men, with spidery legs like the extraterrestrial creature in Alien, extruding yards of shiny black tape. Visitors were always surprised by how quiet it was here. That's because we rarely used metal anymore, no more clanging and riveting. The Sky Cruiser, you see, was 80% plastic. Well, not plastic, really. We used composites. Layers of carbon fiber tape soaked in epoxy glue, then baked at high temperature and pressure. Like Boeing and Airbus and Eurospatial, we used as much composite as we could get away with because it's a lot lighter than metal, and the lighter a plane is, the less fuel it's going to use. Everyone likes to save money on fuel. Unfortunately, the whole process of making planes out of this stuff is sort of a black art. We basically experiment, see what works and what doesn't. This doesn't sound too reassuring, I know. If you're a nervous flyer, this is already probably more than you want to know. Also, like Boeing and Airbus and the others, we don't really build our own planes anymore. We mostly assemble them, screw and glue them together from parts built all over the world. But here in Fab, we made exactly